We are here, friends, to talk about some books. So I am trying to be a more proper booktuber and actually participate in some of the book tags that booktubers create here on YouTube. So this is one of those videos. But before we move forward, if you are new here, hello, I am so glad that you're here. My name is Kim. I am an author illustrator, and here on my channel I like to talk about books. I like to create intentional and cozy videos about just slow living, and I try my best to capture those little small magical moments in my everyday life in hopes to inspire folks that even just our normal everyday lives can be full of wonder and magic. And of course, that wouldn't be possible without books. So I talk a lot about books. I share the books that I'm reading because that's literally something that is very much a part of my life. So if all that sounds good to you and you love all of that kind of content, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. I try my best to post at least 2 videos a week. So yeah, thank you so much for clicking on this video. So today I am doing the end of the year book tag video. This book tag was originally created by Ariel Bassett, which I'll have her channel linked down below. And I believe there are, I'm looking at my computer over here, I believe there are about like maybe 6 questions on here. So with that being said, friends, grab yourself something to drink. I have water with me today because I already had a cup of coffee this morning and I need to drink more water. So grab something warm or cozy to drink and let's talk about some books. The first question is, are there any books that you started this year that you need to finish? And oh my gosh, yes. So I have here 2 books that I started that I never finished. The first one I have here is Ravenfall. This is actually a middle grade book. If you're new to my channel, hello. I am a 30-year-old that likes to read middle grade, and I'm not ashamed of it. I will continue to preach this on my channel. Everyone needs to be reading middle grade. I think middle grade is just a great genre to remind ourselves about all the magical and whimsical things in our lives. And it just sparks creativity, at least for me, and like that childlike wonder. And I love all the whimsy and coziness that middle grade brings. So I love reading middle grade. So Ravenfall, the prequel to this, actually came out this year. It's called Hollowthorn, and I also got it. And I got it because I already know that I'm gonna love this book. But for some reason, I feel like just knowing that I'm already gonna love this book, I started and I didn't finish it. And I feel that was because I had just wrapped up another middle grade book and then I started this one right away. And the thing with middle grade is that middle grade is great to read in between breaks from like YA or adult. I read a lot of fantasy and fiction books, and every time I've read something like big, I don't know, like a big fantasy book or something that it took a lot of thinking and energy from me, I like to grab a middle grade book because for me they're a lot easier to understand and read, and it's just like a nice little break in between those bigger, heftier novels. So I had just wrapped up, I forgot what middle grade I read, but then I started this one right away, and I kind of was like, oh, I'm not feeling right now reading middle grade after reading another middle grade. And so I ended up picking up some other like YA books to read, and I finished those, and I haven't gotten a chance to pick this one up again, but I definitely want to finish this book before the year ends. This is about a 13-year-old whose name is Anna, and her family are a family of psychics who run a bed and breakfast, which is called the Ravenfall Inn, hence the title. And one day this boy appears at the inn who claims that his little brother was or is missing. And of course, Anna, being the psychic that she is, she had already seen him coming, or she had like a vision of him coming, and so she decides to help him. So Anna decides to help him to search for his brother, and amongst Anna helping him, they encounter some mystical creatures lurking in the darkness. And I really like this because it has some Celtic mythology, and I love a good book that incorporates any sort of mythology. Definitely want to finish this. And then I have here another book that I started like I think in September, and I only got a couple of chapters in and then I put it down. And this is The Spirit Bares Its Teeth by Andrew Joseph White. Oops, I think I forgot to mention who the author is for this one. This is Kaylin Josephson. This is a YA fantasy novel. This is actually a medical, I would consider this like being like a medical horror type of book, and it does explore themes of like ableism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, and it's based in a very capitalistic patriarchy type of society. So the setting in this book is in London of 1883. So this book follows Silas, who is trying to escape an arranged marriage. But in this world, there are a group of people who have violet eyes, and Silas is one of those people. I forgot what the violet eyes mean. I don't know if it means like a sort of power or something like that. It means something, but I can't remember right now. So they're trying to escape an arranged marriage and they fail, and they end up getting this disease that only happens to people with violet eyes. So because of that disease, they are sent off to this institute where they're supposed to, I think, recover or something like that. But of course, some stuff ends up happening at this institute where there are like ghosts involved, and they're asking Silas for help because apparently there's some bad stuff at this institute. I really liked the storyline and it still sounds intriguing for me, but it could be very graphic. Actually, it is very graphic. And there's a lot of talk about just body and surgeries and opening up bodies, and that kind of talk is in this book. So thread carefully, but it does sound like a really good book, and I do want to finish it. I'm either thinking of, I don't know which one I should try and finish. Maybe I'll try and finish both of them, but most likely I won't be able to get to everything I want to finish before the year ends. Moving on, the next question is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? I am currently reading The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. I'm listening to it on Libby actually. So right now I'm in my fantasy witchy era. I mean, that's usually what I go for, but like more so right now I've been really wanting to read witchy and fantasy anything. So I've been looking for a good witch book to just hit home for me before the year ends, because I've read some witchy books this year and none of them have given me, I don't know, none of them have been 5 stars for me this year. But I just started the book today. When I was doing some research, I looked at my library of what I've been reading and what I currently have, and actually The Year of the Witching said that it is an autumnal book, so I don't know, but I started reading it today and so far I've been liking it. I'm only like an hour into the audiobook, but the synopsis of the book says, in the lands of Bethel where the prophet's word is law, Emmanuel Moore's very existence is blasphemy. Her mother's union with an outsider of a different race cast her once proud family into disgrace. So Emmanuel does her best to worship the Father, follow holy protocol, and lead a life of submission, devotion, and absolute conformity like all the other women in the settlement. But a mishap lures her into the forbidden darkwood surrounding Bethel, where the first prophet once chased and killed 4 powerful witches. Their spirits are still lurking there, and they bestow a gift on Emmanuel, the journal of her dead mother, who Emmanuel is shocked to learn once sought sanctuary in the woods. Fascinated by the secrets in the diary, Emmanuel finds herself struggling to understand how her mother could have consorted with the witches. But when she begins to learn grim truths about the church and its history, she realizes the true threat to Bethel is its own darkness, and she starts to understand that if Bethel is to change, it must begin with her. I think I read that this was a mix of, I don't know if you guys have seen the show Salem, which is a sort of horror gothic witchy series, and I forgot what other mix, maybe like a Discovery of Witches, I think. So it's a mix between those, and I was immediately intrigued because I love A Discovery of Witches and Salem, but I'm not too far into the book, so I don't really have any opinions on it so far, but that's what I'm reading right now to transition out of the autumn season. The next question is there a new release you're still waiting for? To be honest, not really. I wouldn't say like super anticipated book releases for 2023. The only ones that I kind of have my eye on is Salt and Broom by Sharon Lynn Fisher, which is kind of like a retelling of Jane Eyre. I've never read anything from Sharon Lynn Fisher before, but I like a good retelling story, so that's kind of what caught my eye. It is a historical fiction book, so I don't know, historical fiction is not always my favorite genre, but I'm willing to give it a try. The next one that I'm willing to maybe check out this year is Hollowed Games by C.N. Crawford, which also came out December 1st. This is a fantasy romance novel, and it says that this is giving like A Court of Thorn, Roses, and Serpent and the Wings of Night kind of vibe, so that immediately caught my attention. And right now I'm in my big fantasy era. Like, all I've been wanting to read is just fantasy. fantasy. Honestly, anything that's romantasy. Give me anything that has romance and fantasy and I'm happy for the rest of the year. So those are the two only ones that I kind of have my eye on, but I'm unsure whether I will actually get to them. They're not like on my priority list for this year. The next question here is, what are the 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Which I have right here. First one that I need to read is These Twisted Bonds by Lexi Ryan. I just finished These Hollow Vows today in the morning, and oh my gosh, you guys, I kind of seen the ending coming. I seen the ending coming, but it leaves on a major cliffhanger, and I already knew. Like, I was reading it this whole entire week, and yesterday I went out and got the prequel because I just cannot wait. I don't know if I'm gonna jump into it right away. I might read my other book that I want to read this year, which is Witch of Wild Things, just to give myself a break from this world. Yeah, These Twisted Vows for sure I'm gonna read, and then Witch of Wild Things by Raquel Vasquez Gillian. I follow the author on Instagram and I see one of her posts and she said, just think of this book as practical magic but Latinx. What? Yes, I immediately bought this. And this was part of my, well, it is part of my fall TBR, which we're technically still in fall, so I'm still in the range. So I think I'm gonna start reading this tonight and see where this world takes me. But I'm excited because, again, I haven't had the best year with reading witchy book, and I love practical magic, and if it's centered around a Latinx protagonist, then I'm here for it. And then the next one I want to read before the year ends is The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I've been wanting to get more into T. Kingfisher's writing. I read A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher, and it was such a cozy and magical read. I loved it, but I want to get more into her a little bit darker fantasy novels, and I hadn't heard anything about The Twisted Ones before. I kind of just seen it. It was like one of those buy one get one 50% off books, so I ended up picking this up. I think one of her most, or I guess the books that I've heard more about from T. Kingfisher is Nettle and Bone and What Moves the Dead, which I haven't read as well, but I want to get into this because I think she has like another book releasing next year, so I need to get on the bandwagon. I believe this is about our main character, whose name is Mouse, and she has to like clean out her like dead grandmother's garage or something like that. But as she's cleaning out the garage, she ends up finding out this journal that used to belong to like a grandfather or something like that, and I think her reading that journal, that's where like it takes off. Like, I think she relates to some of the writings and it's relatable to her experience or something that's happening in this world. I don't know too much about it, but something like that. So I want to read this one as well. These are my 3 books that I for sure need to finish before the year ends. The next question is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? I wouldn't say shock me. I know for sure These Twisted Bonds, I'm already hooked on the first book, and I'm hoping this is gonna be just as good. So I wouldn't say a shock. It's more so I'm hoping it doesn't disappoint me because I liked the first book so much. And also The Witch of Wild Things. Again, I wouldn't say shocked, but I mean, it already has some things that I already love. It has witchiness, it has magic, and there's Latinx representation on here, so I already know I'm gonna love this. And our last question on here on our end of the year book tag is, have you already started making reading plans for 2024? Okay, yes and no. I have discovered this year that I am a huge mood reader. In the past, I have tried making plans as far as like, oh, this month, this week, I'm gonna read this genre, and I'm gonna be a seasonal reader, and when it's spring, I'm gonna read spring books, and when it's summer, I'm gonna read summer books, and so forth. And I just found out that that doesn't work for me. I'm a huge mood reader, and it really depends on what kind of mood I'm personally in, what's going on in my life, what I'm in the taste for, that is going to determine my TBR. Honestly, just even forming particular themed TBRs is really hard for me because I'm a huge mood reader. So I wouldn't say I have any particular plans as far as like what I'm gonna read, because it really depends on what mood I am in, and of course I can't know the type of mood I'm gonna be in next month. But I do have goals. I will say I do have goals as far as like what or how many books I want to read and so forth, which is just kind of like a number in the back of my mind. I don't want to put a lot of pressure into me meeting those goals, because then I feel like I'm just going to be reading just to meet those goals, and I don't want my reading to become something like that. I want to enjoy reading. I want to take my time with reading. I don't want to feel pressured into having to finish books just to meet a number. So I guess I would just say I have goals, but they're very loose goals. I am giving myself free range to not meet the goals, to meet the goals, and I am in no way holding myself accountable if I don't meet those goals. So yeah. But I will say that there are some very exciting 2024 releases coming that I am so pumped for. I made 2 videos already about 2024 book releases that I am anticipating, which I'll link the 2 videos down below. And I'm so excited for. But I have to make a plan because I can't buy all of them. I need to make a plan because I'm gonna have to read some of them, and then the ones that I'm really anticipating, then I will spend my hard-earned money on. But the ones that I'm like, oh, okay, this sounds okay, but I would be okay if I don't own a physical copy, then I could just listen to the audiobook on Libby. So maybe those are the kind of plans that I need to be making for 2024. Honestly, yeah, I should be making those kind of plans, those kind of reading plans. What I'm gonna choose to spend my money to have a physical book, and what I'm gonna be okay with just reading or listening to the audiobook on Libby for free. Now those are good reading plans right there, because books are expensive, as you all know, and I have no chill when I go to a bookstore. I literally went to the bookstore yesterday to pick up these Twisted Vows, and I came back home with 3 books. I had 4 in my hand, and it was really hard to even put that 4th one down. So I need to make some financial reading goals for 2024. Those are the real plans right there. But that is it for this end of the year book tag. I hope that you enjoyed this chatty video. I don't tend to do book tags or any of these kind of videos, but I thought this would be fun just to see kind of like where I'm at as far as reading goes, and for you all to get a glimpse into where I'm at as far as reading goes. But it was fun to make. So if you want to see more videos like this from me, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you engage with this video, comment, let me know what your reading plans are for 2024. I need to see where everyone's at when it comes to reading for next year. As always, friends, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for spending this little time with me. I really appreciate you so much. And until next time, friends, take care and bye for now.